It is Sunday, October 4th, 2020, and this is an update on the Three Gorges Dam and current events in China. We have 3 pieces of information to cover today, including a look at the live stream and the water level at the dam. Also, courtesy of the diplomat, China, food security, and geopolitics. We also have some new tweets. Let's hop into it. And a brief caveat before today's video. While researching for these reports, I come across information from various sources. Just because I decide to include a piece of information doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with it. I like to let you decide for yourself. Moving on. And now let's have a look at the live streams at the dam. And as we can see, the spillway angle camera is still up and running today. And if we take a look at the lower left hand corner of our screen, we can see that the flow from the new channel of water has increased. And I'm pointing out that new channel of water because, just like many of you, I'm curious to know if this stream is live or looped. So let's go back to the future, all the way to October 1st. And as we can see, by looking at the live stream from October 1st, that channel of water wasn't there. That channel of water may not mean anything, but I did think it was worth pointing out. And now a quick check on the side angle camera. It's still deactivated. And now let's have a look at the water level at the dam. The current water level is 169.26 meters. The current inflow is not noted, and the current outflow is 17,000 cubic meters per second. It is worth noting that these numbers are released by the CCP. Over the past 24 hours, the water level at the dam has continued to rise. Just 24 hours ago, it was just shy of 168 meters, and now the water level is over 169 meters. Upstream at Kuntan, the water level is also on the rise. As we can see, just 24 hours ago it was 171.7 meters and currently sits over 172.5 meters. And this comes courtesy of the diplomat, China, food security, and geopolitics. This has not been a good year for China. The economy suffered a 6.8% economic contraction in Q1, followed by a 3.2% rebound in Q2. Relations with the United States remain tense and complicated. On top of that, heavy rains have caused massive flooding that has wiped away billions of dollars of value in China, washing up factories, homes, and agricultural land in a frothy tide of destruction. While China supports over 20% of the world's population, it has a little over 12% of its arable land, according to the World Bank. Heavy rains and floods are bad enough. Add in an African swine fever resurgence in some parts of southern China, and the question of food security gains some traction as something to watch. In a confirmation of increasing concern over food, in August, President Xi Jinping launched a new initiative, Operation Empty Plates, targeting food waste in China. Food, large populations, and good governance are built into China's history. Indeed, the national story has often been defined by a dynastic cycle in which the old order becomes corrupt, fails to maintain key infrastructure like canals and irrigation, and eventually is unable to keep public order or defend the frontier. The economy eventually fails, as does support for the dynasty. Famine, bandits, and rebels add to the misery, eroding the old dynasty's mandate of heaven. Out of the chaos, a new leader arises, sets the wrongs right, and founds the next dynasty. China is no stranger to famine. Mao's Great Leap Forward set out to rapidly industrialize China, but instead helped plunge the country into ideological upheaval which contributed to the disruption of agricultural production. Mao's ideological blinders and the fear most party members felt about telling him the truth of a massive miss in food production targets plunged his country into what is known as the Great Chinese Famine. It was only after Mao was briefly ousted that China would return to being able to feed itself, helped by allowing some degree of market-like incentives to encourage food production. Does China face a similar ideological situation now? Probably not, but Xi does not like dissenting views. This has created a top-down system that makes it difficult for actors at the bottom of the power pyramid to quickly signal problems up the chain of command. The scope of the food security problem facing China is complicated and touches on a number of factors. Although China has considerable stocks of corn, rice, and wheat, it remains dependent on imported soybeans and has a shortage of pork, a traditional staple. The floods in the Yangtze River Basin, the source of most of China's rice, have impacted production and transportation and left behind a fair amount of land underwater. According to the China General Administration of Customs, China's grain imports has risen by 22.7% in between January and July as compared to the same period in 2019. The Yangtze River economic belt is both a strength to China and a weak point. The area is home to more than 40% of China's population, about 600 million people, and accounts for almost 50% of export value and 45% of GDP. On its own, the region could be the third largest economy in the world. It could be said that as goes the Yangtze River economic belt, so goes China. Rising population weight and over-urbanization make this a region that will increasingly be under the threat of flooding. It is likely that climate change is speeding up flooding. Thank you for watching this video. If you're finding it informative, please consider giving the channel a subscribe. And our last piece of information is a series of interesting tweets. And I think that's a good place to wrap up today's video. I hope that you found it informative, and check back soon for more content.